What's up, gamers? Here we are with our top 6 from Store Championships, Nami in top 6. And what was your record again?
I went X1.
X1. And how many rounds did you do?
5 rounds.
5 rounds.
Which I find a little unfair, but hey.
What would you say was your hardest matchup during that week?
I want to say the only one that I lost, which was against Whitebeard. They just kept hitting too hard, and I didn't draw the skill issue, I guess. But overall, Nami is really good at pretty much countering every other kind of situation she's in.
Okay. Now what engine are you working with right now?
So I decided to stick with just a simple event engine. I don't really like the whole character event thing. I played a mirror match, but I'll get into it later. That was on the character build, but other than that, I think this is the best version of the deck itself.
Okay.
Alright, so
let's see what we're working with.
Alright, easy. So it's pretty much everything that you've seen before, but I'll just kind of go ahead and explain what the cards do for the deck. Buggy is not just good at looking for the impel down cards, it's good because if you find an impel down card, you take out a card from the deck, and that sets you up for the late game with the other 4 being able to be manipulated, which I've done several times over the past weekend, where those same 4 cards that I put at the bottom, I'll just arrange them in a certain way, and eventually I'll get there. I know which ones they are, so then I'll play a certain way so I can mill myself out. So that's why this card's better than just, I'm gonna find an impel down card. Then Kaya, of course, Kaya is the staple of the deck. It could literally win you games. I don't know how many times that I've actually manipulated the deck to the point where I have exactly 4 cards and I have the 2 in hand, and that's just pretty much it. And they're also 2k counters, so if you absolutely need to, you're going to be able to use them to keep yourself alive. So pretty much that's what she does for the deck. And then obviously the Mr. 1, 4 of, it recycles all your 1 costs, and as long as you're not in a very a tough position, you're always going to be able to use them effectively. You're always going to be able to give up a Dawn and in exchange get another 1 cost, which most of the time is going to be the Gavel, just so you can secure yourself a 9k counter. That's that, and then of course the powerhouse of the deck, whenever he gets off, it's pretty much GG's, Zeph. Zeph is more than just I'm going to bounce my own cards back kind of card. I don't know how many times I was able to go ahead and bounce out their cards where it was just going to be a problematic card. I would just go ahead and bounce it out, and then I would just mill 2. So it was more beneficial than you would think. For example, I played a match against Katakuri, and he was only seeing Spero. And it got to the point where I was kind of just bullying the deck. I had Brick Fist, I had Zeph, I had Overheat. That guy never stuck around. So pretty broken. And of course, he gets a hit. You mill 7. You get closer to winning. Then this card is just pretty much for counter. The trigger also helps you go ahead and oh shit, I went up a little bit further there. But with the Gum Ring, the trigger is pretty solid. It gets you back a 2, either a 1 cost or a 2 cost, and it's mostly going to be the kind, let's be real. And it's just pretty good for countering out of situations. And then we're on 4. This is a 1 cost engine basically. 4 Rubber Band, self-explanatory. This one is not self-explanatory. Desert Spada, you have to really think on how you use this card most of the time, because you have to think a lot of how to manipulate your deck on its own. So it really comes down to how your hand is and all that. But this is a very, very, very powerful card if you know how to use it. And then of course the Gavel. Gavel is just broken both in counter and in the trigger. So if you play Nami, you know that the Gavel's broken. And then the discard cards. Controversial cards, I guess. Some people say you shouldn't play them, some people say you should. I'm just going to go through the deck, put it back here. It's the 4 All-Stars and the 4 Deathwing. I don't understand why people say that you shouldn't play them. I don't understand that logic. If you don't play the deck itself, you shouldn't really speak about him not being valuable in the deck, because it's literally a pot of greed off of trigger or a discard fodder. So it's always going to be beneficial. If you hit the trigger, especially against the format we're playing in, you bounce back a 7 cost, which is pretty freaking broken. Not to mention, it gives you 6k counter. So I don't understand why people would say it's not a good part of the engine, but hey, you do you. And then of course, your staple Mellows. Broken late game, even more so when you're down to the wire. That overheat is so good. in more ways than you think. Getting out of situations, bouncing their cards out, or bouncing your own to get closer to mailing yourself out. Very, very simple. And then, of course, Breakfast. I love Breakfast. It's very, very good, especially when they only have one blocker and they're relying on that one blocker to go ahead and protect them from Zeph. 4-cost blocker, obviously. But whenever the situation comes around, I usually do have it so the Zeph can go through. And of course, you can bounce your own cards back. So, even better. And then last but not least, everyone's favorite, Pot of Greed. So I just peel off. So, pretty self-explanatory. And,
Yeah, you won. You won up.
Yeah, I milled myself out.
Yeah.
What
were the matchups?
Round 1, I played Katakuri. He had never played against Nami, so that was kind of, easy peasy. Then round 2 was my only loss, which was against Whitebeard. Unfortunately, he saw a little too much to go a little too hard on me, so I didn't really have enough. You know how it is. It's fine though. It was pretty close. I think I had like
those natural 9K swings.
Yeah, I think I had like 2 cards left, so it was pretty close. And then my third round was, if I recall correctly, Zoro. It was pretty down to the wire. I think he went all out for the final ones, but I just had enough counter to get out of it. And then next turn, I literally didn't swing, and then he swung. I had enough to just mill myself out. And then 4th round, what was my 4th round? Honestly, I don't remember my 4th round, let's be real. And then my 5th round, though, was another Zoro. Another guy that had never played against Nami before, so it was just way too easy. He didn't know how to go against her. He never really played any characters. He just kept putting all his Dawn on Zoro, and it really didn't affect anything. So it was pretty simple, pretty basic. And then I just want to say, Nami is a deck that shouldn't be taken too seriously. So don't think, oh, if I play it, if I lose, deck sucks, whatever. You know what you're getting yourself into. Well, some people are learning how to play against it, so the format's changing and people are learning how to play against it. But whenever you come across people that don't know how to play it, you're gonna have a great time. That's pretty much it.
Well, thank you for your Nami build. Hopefully we'll see you again in our next local store championships. Hopefully we'll see you in first place.
All right,
Thank you
appreciate it.
again.
All right, later.